What is an extremist? You probably had a picture in your head the moment I said that, and for many it was probably one put in your head by the media. So what is the quality or state of being extreme? Well, it all depends on who you ask. If you ask me, a man cutting off his genitals, for instance, that's extreme. Or a person who hates their own nation and wants to replace their own people with foreigners, that is also extreme. But if you ask a communist,
these people are communists.
Anyone who opposes whatever they want is an extremist. This pejorative word extremist is pretty new and mostly used to describe political matters, almost always used to attack one group, white people. In fact, I think this word was created simply for that purpose. Could we all agree that blowing up a building or hijacking a plane is extremist? Actually, we can't. Just ask open communist and retired professor Bill Ayers, founder of the Weatherman, a faction of students for a democratic society, who carried out a campaign of bombings in the 70s against U.S. government institutions. Yes, he's an actual terrorist who brags about it, never spent time in jail, writes articles for mainstream media, and worked in education reform. He's also friends with Hillary and Obama and whines about far right-wing terrorism. He claims that left-wing terrorism doesn't even exist. We never, ever hear about far-left extremism and terrorism because unhinged, radical lefty terrorists are in charge. Yet article after lying article is published on the threats and fears of far-right extremism, the most deadly of all things. Today, though, any white or even questionable white-looking man who commits some kind of a crime or attack is called a far-right extremist. Cambridge says an extremist is someone having beliefs that most people think are unreasonable and unacceptable. Well, guess what? If all your ancestors were alive today, they'd say that the majority of modern-day politics is insane, the extreme opposite of what they all believed. And this applies for all races. What was considered basic common sense, understood by most of the world, and definitely in the West until just recently, is now labeled radical far-right extremism. Why? Because neo-communists control the media. In reality, we live in a day of radical leftist extremism pushed as something completely normal, in attempts to destroy and upset a natural order that has existed since the beginning of time. The left has shifted the dialogue so extremely far into their own insanity that any sort of basic normalcy is deemed far-right extremism. In truth, boys and girls, your grandparents and everyone before them all used to think like me. They weren't soy-eating liberals calling for open borders. You may think you're beyond the left-right paradigm or that you swing on different issues, but it doesn't work that way anymore. Because if you don't agree with everything the left wants, you are a far-right extremist. And for me, I could care less what a bunch of lefties think about me. Not pleasing them is doing the right thing. So, if you say yes to any of the following, you might be a super duper radical far-right extremist and put on a terrorist list by the FBI. Do you see that men and women are biologically different? Do you say there are only 2 genders, not 57? Like to work out and stay fit? Are you a man who's unapologetically masculine? If you hate soy products, if you eat meat,
give your meat a good old rub. That's it. Yeah, boy.
Are you a woman who enjoys looking soft and feminine and wants to be pretty for men? Do you laugh at dumb things feminists do and say?
We need to kill all men. I am sick of being a baby factory that produces more men that will just subjugate me. Kill male babies, kill any man that you see, like in the streets, like any swinging just kill him.
Have this haircut? Wear braids? Do you want a lot of European babies? Oppose the mass murdering ideology of communism? You laugh when someone starts talking about Karl Marx. If you oppose full-on open borders. Don't trust the government? Yeah, extremist. Do you understand that people actually do conspire, plot, and plan in secret? Are you against ethnic and cultural genocide and the replacement of a native people in their own country, including white people? If you think races are biologically different, do you celebrate Yule, Ostera, and other ancient European traditions? If you talk about Norse gods and goddesses or anything pagan, do you like camping, nature, and hiking? Do you attend a Christian church? Are you part of an exclusively guys club that likes to do guy things? Part of a nuclear family? Homeschool your kids? Disgusted by pedophiles? Against children learning about anal sex in the 5th grade? Or about them learning about it at all? Are you a housewife who likes to cook and clean? Are you against gang members freely walking across the border? Do you question everything you're told to believe by the mainstream media?
You are fake news. Sir, can you stay
Especially if you question things like slavery, colonialism, and anything else in the history books. If you defend the right of free speech. Do you see how hate speech is really totalitarian thought control? If you plainly see that people aren't created equal. Laugh at white privilege and the invisible knapsack nonsense.
White privilege unpacking the invisible knapsack.
LOL!
White women are oppressive to work with.
If you're white and don't hate yourself, or if you're white, straight, and Southern.
I just want to take time to say thank you for my family.
Shake and bake.
Dear Lord Baby Jesus, we also thank you for my wife's father, Chip. We hope that you can use your baby Jesus powers to heal him and his horrible leg. And it smells terrible, and the dogs are always bothering with it.
Are you white and unaffected by white guilt? Do you enjoy laughing at SJW fails compilations? Are you so bored of the words racist and Nazi and white supremacist? Do you question the word refugee and migrant or child refugees who look 35? Do you talk about globalist elites, bankers, corrupt politicians, and NGOs? Do you despise socialism? Talk about the Constitution? Do you think the Civil War wasn't about slavery? Do you think the South has a culture? Do you talk about how in the height of American slavery, only 6% of Southerners had slaves? Don't care to worry about LGBTQ and other said victim groups? If you just don't care about Muslims, Jews, Israel, and their foreign wars.
Why do we spend so much money on Israel? I've often heard people make this complaint. The truth is, we don't spend enough. We should spend more.
If you just don't think about anti-Semitism or the Holocaust. If you don't like Islam or Judaism. Are you against America invading the world to bring liberal democracy?
Anakin, my allegiance is to democracy!
Have you ever talked about the blatant theft and ongoing murder of white farmers in South Africa? Do you want to live in a nice white neighborhood with other nice white people? Or are you a non-white and against whites becoming a minority in their countries because you too like to live in a nice white neighborhood? Are you against globalists turning the West into a multicultural country for everyone, united by a shopping mall? If you don't want the entire West and really the entire world to be exactly the same in every way, yeah. Me too. The next time a leftist or anyone else charges you for being a far-right extremist, laugh in their face and say, thank you, because it means you are a healthy human being living in the real world. You don't need to defend common sense, truth, and Mother Nature. It is they who must be charged for being maniacs trying to destroy everything natural and consistent on planet Earth. that which always has and will exist. Nature didn't screw up. It is they trying to pervert normal impulses as something incorrect. Well, good luck with that.